we're going to keep on chugging along to our fourth show, titled Three People, written by Zachary Rose and directed by Tori Long. So take it away.
Hi. Okay, so this is Three People. Lillian will be played by Shaylee. Lillian is an attractive young woman who works as a handywoman, chores and such for the family. Megan, which will be played by Taylor, is a slightly older woman, never really having to work and married rich. And John is played by Ryan, and he's a handicapped doctor, mid-40s. Enjoy.
We were walking along this dark road, like twilight, a long straight road, just us three on it. John, Megan, and me, and we were walking along. It was kind of funny that we were walking along. I mean, as long as I've known them, John had been in a wheelchair, but here he was, walking down the road with us. We came to 3 stones alongside the road after a moment. Milestones. 3 stones, and there were 3 of us. I want to tell you the story, though. How we 3 came to be. California. That should say enough. But I can go on. Nice house up in Topanga Canyon, which leads from the ocean to the valleys of San Fernando. It was lovely, private driveway, had a drop off at the end of the porch overlooking the canyon. Big ass drop. John, you see, was a retired doctor from the East, disease having taken his legs from him. He came out some years ago to California, married Megan soon after too, I think. Me? I was taken on as a handyman, caretaker, someone to push the wheelchair around, take care of some chores around the house, what have you. After a while, I got to be family, You know how that thing tends to go. Anyway, there's more than one side to any story, including this one. This here, it's my side. Between us, though, I hadn't noticed anything until one day last October when Megan and I were looking into the valley, having a drink. John napping somewhere.
Lillian.
What?
You're really beautiful.
Thanks, Megan.
No, really, I mean it.
You are too.
Mm-hmm.
I need to head over to Canoga Park for the groceries. It's getting late.
I'll stay here a while. The stores don't close until later, and besides, maybe I want to go with you. You have such lovely hair.
I ought to get a job as a model then.
Oh, you'd be terrific.
You want another drink?
I don't think so. You are quite attractive.
You're not bad yourself,
If I had met you before I met John, I would have ended up with you.
Well, I'm going to get the groceries.
Well, not yet. There's lots of time and we're having fun.
You are.
Hmm?
You're messing with me.
I'm not messing with you, Lillian.
What do you call it then?
I'm courting you.
Megan.
Well, if it wasn't for John.
Maybe we should take him out then, all dramatic like Shakespearean or some shit.
Oh, maybe we ought to.
Well, I'm going to get the car now.
Oh, wait a minute. Give me a kiss.
Oh, come on now.
I said come give me a kiss. No, come here now.
Listen, Megan, John...
Now! Lovely.
As Lillian said, there's more than one side to a story. I want to tell my side, as the husband, the man in the wheelchair. You see, I wasn't asleep. I had been, but Megan's voice is sometimes louder than she thinks it is, and it woke me up. There's one thing about a wheelchair, you see, too, it's quiet. I'd rolled over to the doorway just in time to see Megan and Lillian embracing. I hid before they could see me, and I don't know why. I suppose it was instinctive. I waited before I went outside after Lillian had left.
Oh, you're awake?
Obviously, my love.
Lillian's gone for the groceries.
I thought I heard her voice.
She just left. Sleep well.
Mm-hmm.
Drink?
No, thank you.
Well, there goes Lillian now.
Bye, Lillian! What's the matter with her?
What?
She looked sort of embarrassed or something.
Oh, that's crazy, John.
She's beautiful, isn't she?
Oh, Lillian? Sure.
I wonder how tall she is.
Oh, I'm sure I don't know.
You know, I was 5'10" before I had this chair.
I know.
People, they never realize how lucky they are.
Why?
I mean, compared to those like me, I know I never gave it a thought when I was in good health, when I had my legs.
Oh, don't talk that way, John. You've got a lot of things Lillian hasn't got.
I've got you, my dear.
I mean, like money.
Money really isn't so important.
You know, John, I really wonder why it is.
Why, what is, dear?
Why people who have lots of money are always the ones to make that remark about money not being important.
Well, suppose you need money to first discover how unimportant it is.
I'd sure like to have the chance to find out whether it is or not.
Are you hinting that I ought to increase your allowance?
No, I don't mean that. I just mean I'd like to have just buckets of money.
We're well off,
Well, I know, but that's your money, John. I'd like to have bags and bags of my own.
Well, all you have to do is wait till I die.
But I want it. Oh, I'm sorry, John.
What would you do with it?
Oh, why, I'd buy all the clothes in the world and I would travel. I'd go to San Francisco and Santa Barbara and New York and
And leave me here roosting on a mountainside? Glad you haven't got it then.
Oh, John, I didn't mean it. I'm sorry.
Oh, forget it, darling. I couldn't resist the temptation to mess with you a little.
Well, I am sorry.
I'll tell you what. It's rough on you being cooped up here. Why don't you and Lillian drive up to Santa Barbara tomorrow or the next day?
Oh, John, really?
I guess we can afford it.
Oh, and I can get some new clothes.
And I think I can trust Lillian with you.
What?
I mean, trust her not to let you buy too much.
Oh, shall I get you a drink now? So now you want to hear my side of the story, I suppose. Well, I'm not quite ready to tell it yet. It may surprise you when I do tell you, however. I'll let Lillian continue.
Well, I drove her to Santa Barbara. John said he'd be all right in the house alone for one day. He said be back by evening, though. So we started just before sunset, coming down the coast road. I was kind of wondering about Megan, but she didn't say anything out of the ordinary, so I figured, well, let it pass. We were just driving along the ocean, and Megan said, pull up, so we'll go.
You can kiss me now, Lillian.
Oh, I can, huh?
Yes.
Listen, Megan.
Please, Lillian.
What?
Lillian, I think John saw us.
What? When?
Yesterday afternoon when you kissed me.
He was asleep.
I don't think he was.
Fuck, Megan.
Well, so one more kiss won't hurt.
Listen, Megan.
Just one more, though. Don't you love me?
Megan, listen to me. You're John's wife, and I like John, and...
Why, I like him too, Lillian. I guess maybe you'd better not kiss me after all.
Well,
No, you're right. Let's drive on. It's getting dark, and I worry about John.
So do I.
Gee, it was fun today with a lot of money to spend. I wish I really had a lot of money.
John's got a lot, hasn't he?
Sure, and if he dies, I'll get it. I mustn't talk that way.
No, don't.
I worry about him sometimes, Lillian. In that wheelchair, if he'd ever roll off the porch up there, why, he'd fall all the way down the mountainside. And why, he'd be smashed to pieces, wouldn't he? Wouldn't he?
Megan kissed Lillian again today. I saw them kiss. Not noticing me in the wheelchair. I didn't speak until they had moved away from each other, but if I had ever seen guilt written on two people's faces, I saw it then. It'd been 2 months since I saw the first kiss on the porch. Was this the second? Or am I a suspicious fool? Of course my wife loves me. Of course Lillian is a loyal friend. What am I even thinking of?
I mean, I'd just like to have just buckets of money.
I am a suspicious fool.
Oh, but I want it.
I am a suspicious fool. I must have Lillian oil this wheelchair. I think I detect the faintest squeak.
It would be nice to be married to Megan, wouldn't it? I think she's the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. It's funny how long I've been here with them, and I've never particularly noticed before how beautiful she is. John's changed, though, hasn't he? I never used to notice how stingy he is. Poor Megan. She deserves everything in the world. Money and good times and everything. Well, I like John, sure, but it'll be a great break for Megan when he dies. She'll be rich then, like she wants to be. I wonder where I'll fit into the picture then. What am I thinking about? John's my friend, even if I do work for him, and Megan's his wife. I've got to stop this. I'll be thinking about murdering the guy next thing. Why, hello, Megan.
What are you thinking about, Lillian?
When?
When I came onto the porch just now?
Why, just thinking.
About me?
Well,
Were you?
kind of. Where's John?
Upstairs reading. You know what I wish?
What?
I wish you and I could go for a ride.
Well, we can't. You know that.
Well, sure, I know it, but the moon's so nice, and wouldn't you like to, though?
But we can't.
I know it, but there's no harm in saying we'd like to, is there?
Of course not.
What would we do? Would we drive down to the beach?
I guess so.
Would you kiss me?
Megan.
Would you?
Stop it, Megan.
Well, don't you love me, Lillian?
Megan, please.
Don't you?
Please.
Lillian?
You know I love you.
Shh, be careful.
You said he was upstairs.
He's not deaf.
I'm sorry.
I'm not.
Well, now you know.
Yeah, now I know. Lillian?
What? I'm going in.
No, wait, it'd be awfully nice being married to you.
Megan, don't say that.
Wouldn't you like it?
Yes, but
But what?
John,
Hmm. Lillian, do you love me enough to do something for me?
pretty near anything.
Anything?
Anything. What do you want me to do?
Nothing now. I'll ask you to do something for me someday, though. Will you do it then?
What is it?
Well, I'll ask you someday. Just promise you will.
I promised, but I wish.
Kiss me, darling.
Wait, listen.
What is it?
I thought I heard a squeak, like that one wheel on John's chair.
I was a surgeon, as I think Lillian told you. I was formerly a rather expert diagnostician. I was possessed. Also, I flatter myself, that detachment that is such an important asset in my profession. I have performed operations on close friends with the same objectivity that I employ upon unknowns. Therefore, I was able to apply the same impersonal approach to this diagnosis of a case in which I might be presumed to be the most interesting party. This was interesting. I was in danger of my life. My wife, the woman I married for love, the woman that I cherished, my wife was plotting my death, and for something material? Money? Remembering back through the years of our marriage, Megan had always been impatient about money matters. I remember the talk we had that first brought the whole thing to my attention. I was certain that I was right. I had only two uncertainties, however: when and how. If I learned these, I could be able to defend myself, and in my defense, I could plot murder as well.
I can't, Megan.
You promised, Lillian.
I didn't know what you meant.
Yes, you did.
I didn't.
Oh, you did, Lillian.
I tell you.
You knew what I meant the minute I said it. Didn't you?
I tell you.
Didn't you?
Well,
And you promised.
I can't do it, Megan.
It'll be so easy, Lillian.
No.
Just a little easy push on the back of the wheelchair.
No.
And then we'll go away and be married and have so much money, Lillian. Don't you want to marry me?
You know I do.
Well, then.
Can't we wait?
Darling, I've waited and waited and waited for you, and I won't wait any longer. I want to marry you, and you know.
Megan, do you really mean you'll marry me?
What do you think?
Oh, Megan.
No, not now. No more kisses, darling, until
We can't do this.
No, we can and we will.
But
Look, darling, sit down and I'll tell you exactly what to do. Now, listen, it'll be so easy.
how can we be sure he won't fall out of the chair, Megan, and just get hurt a little?
Well, you'll have to think up some way to keep him in it, darling.
But I can't. I don't know how.
You'll get an idea, darling, but do it soon.
Today, Lillian installed a strap on my wheelchair to hold down the blanket I usually wear across my knees. She says, now I know how it is to be done. It's a long drop down to the canyon from my porch.
But when will we be married, darling? I mean, how soon?
Well, just as quickly as we possibly can. We'll have to wait a little while, at least until his will is probated and I get the money. And then, well, but we mustn't do it too quickly and make people suspicious, you know.
We could go to Mexico, couldn't we?
We'll go wherever we want to.
I wish there was some other way.
There isn't. Now go away. He mustn't see us talking together so much.
You think he's got any idea?
Of course not. He hasn't the faintest idea in the world.
I have armed myself. Found an old favorite hunting knife that I haven't used in years. It will fit nicely under my blanket. And I hope that I haven't forgotten how to use it. I think I shall not have long to wait, and I have discovered still another curious thing. There's a revolver in Megan's purse, and it is loaded. Makes me wonder.
Well, this is the night. This is the night I keep my promise to Megan. It is a hot night. We don't usually have hot nights up here in the canyon. As we sit on the porch, we talk about it.
Awfully warm, isn't it?
I've never seen it as hot.
Earthquake weather.
What?
Earthquake weather. They say when it's hot and sultry like this, it breeds earthquakes.
Oh, that's silly, Lillian.
Lillian?
No, it isn't, John. I remember.
Lillian,
What?
now.
And for a second, I don't know what she means, but she says it again.
Now.
And her voice cracks like a black snake whip, and I jump to my feet, and she's staring at me, and I stretch out my hands to the back of John's wheelchair.
And now listen to my side of it. And I told you I'd surprise you, unless you've already guessed it. That's just the way that it was.
Awfully hot, isn't it?
I've never seen it so hot.
Earthquake weather.
What?
Earthquake weather. They say when it's hot and sultry like this, it breeds earthquakes.
Oh, that's silly, Lillian.
And I said, Lillian.
No, it isn't, John. I remember.
And I said, now. And she started to move slowly toward John's chair. Just as she reached for the back of it, I yanked the little revolver out of my purse and I aim it straight between her eyes. Yes, Lillian's eyes.
Shall I tell you the third side of the story now? I was sitting there and I said, awfully hot, isn't it?
I've never known it to be so hot.
Earthquake weather.
What?
Earthquake weather. They say when it's hot and sultry like this, it breeds earthquakes.
Oh, that's silly, Lillian.
Lillian?
No, it isn't, John. I remember.
And I heard Megan speak again.
Lillian.
And as she stumbled to her feet, I knew this was it. Over my shoulder, I saw her coming towards me, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw that ugly little nose of that pistol in Megan's hand pointing straight at Lillian. And I flung myself out of the chair, and I knew I had won. I drew back the hunting knife and hurled it straight at Megan's heart. And
Yes, it was earthquake weather. No, nobody murdered anybody, but there are 3 bodies up there in Topanga Canyon, buried so far under wreckage and 1,000 tons of hillside that nobody will ever find them. And the 3 of us, John, Megan, and I, we're walking down this long, straight road together. Something. I guess you don't have to commit murder to be guilty of it. If you think about it and plot it and plan it, well, that's enough. You get punished anyway. I suppose that is what we're walking into, our punishment now, together.
End of play.
Thank you guys so much. That was great. Let's take our bows.
Oh, I'm not part of this.
That's fine. You can take a bow. Yay! March roll claps. This is so much fun.